Racing games might not be the most famous when it comes to mobile games, but they really pack content and promise as much as thrill a first-person shooter does. We get about a dozen of them every month, and if you're keen around them, today we're gonna kick off the top 20 offline action and racing games for your Android and iOS devices as well. Number 1, starting off with probably the crown jewel of all offline realistic racing sim games, specifically if you're into Formula 1 cars, we've got Real Racing 3, which is actually published by EA Games and has been fine-tuned and polished ever since 10 years ago. It features a large collection of cars and a nice little variety of modes to keep you engaged for quite a while. Overall boasts really high quality graphics, some of the best sound effects, a career mode, and a multiplayer for less than a gigabyte of storage. Coming up behind that, a lot in the same vein as the famous Dead Vinci game, if you like your action racing game a little bit more diverse, we've got over here as a bit of a different type, Zombie Off-Road Safari, which is basically a semi-open world vehicle combat racing and survival game. Now the reason I mentioned this one at number 2 is you can play this one no matter what type of game you like. If you downloaded it, you probably made a good decision if you haven't already, because it plays wholly offline and it's about 100 megabytes in total and has a world of content of what you see right there. Number 3, I've wanted to mention this game for a very long time. It's finally fitting in the list. We have Crash of Cars. Downloaded over 10 million times and rated a 4.5 to a literal 5 out of 5 on the Apple Store today. This is also a vehicle combat offline and real-time multiplayer shooter with the most enjoyable physics and combat system this specific genre ever had to offer. Play it, thank me later. If you haven't already, this game is about 200 megabytes in total. Moving on, we have, of course, Beach Buggy Racing. This is a classic, definitely the best option if you were keen to Crash, Mario, and even Bomberman races. This game is one of the top 5 most beloved kart racing games of all time. Offers the most amount of content in the list today for a 100 megabyte game in total. Even the graphics are too good for the type. The grind is real, you can be sure it's among the most addicting mobile games of all time, and is downloaded over 100 million times already. Now, shifting to a different gear, we've got Motor Rider Go. This is of course, as you can see, motorcycle first-person racing sim, one of the most famous competitive multiplayer mobile racing games on the Google Play now, even though it's been out for years. You can play this one offline, and you probably should, because the online play leaves you with a ton of ads that are about a minute long each. I kid you not, however, you cannot find me a more addicting mobile game if you tried Motor Rider. It's graphically legit for a 150 megabyte game and it's very easy to get the hang of too. With over 100 million downloads again and a 4.5 rating out of 5 to a 5 out of 5 recently, we've got over here Drift Max Pro. This is legitimately the best stunt racing and drifting game you can play on mobile. However, the downside is it's a 1.5 gigabyte game in size, so there's a chance you couldn't, but if you could, don't even hesitate. It's the ultimate realistic drift racing game I could recommend, with super nice graphics, lots of cars, even more ads if you play it online, so don't, and it's free all the way. At number 7, we have CarX Rally. This is, of course, from the same old CarX Technologies LLC developers. These folks have certainly brought joy with all CarX games, and certainly with this one, because you can play it in particularly offline. If you go ahead and visit the Google Play, you literally can't find a negative review on this one, specifically since last month, as the game's been fine-tuned to a PlayStation 5 quality-wise in control and graphics. Some of the best car physics on any racing game I've ever played, and all of that for just 600 megabytes in total. Regarded as the best offline racing mobile game of all time, although that's not true, you could say this is the second or the third best. At number 8 we have of course Asphalt Nitro, which is just as good as Airborne. Available only on the Google Play with over 100 million downloads and a 4.5, this game is legitimately one of the most enjoyable racing and drifting games on the platform that offers more than a console to mobile port in graphics. The only problem is just it needs more maps and more cars. And one more thing, it takes you down about 3 gigabytes of storage. Moving on to number 9, we have Vertigo Racing. This is actually one of my favorite games of all time. This is a top-down, vintage car physics-based racing game that comes with a variety of upgrades, unlockables, and really difficult stages as you go further. I love this game on a personal level because I grew up playing Death Rally, but this has even more content made in 3D and it's no more than 200 megabytes in total. The game is downloaded over 10 million times and rated a 4.5 out of 5. Number 10, it's a game I was hesitating a bit to be honest, but nonetheless, off the radar, haven't mentioned it, I believe no one ever mentioned it in a video. This is a almost cyberpunk style motorcycle obstacle based racer. That's something here going by the name 32 Seconds, which is coming from one of the biggest mobile game developers of all time. This game has no more than 200 megabytes on Android and offers legit the closest experience to Subway Surf if you like racing games more. And here's a bunch of other offline action, realistic, and even shooting racing games you can pick up along the way, starting with Grid Autosport, which is by the way the only paid game in the list, and for $10 you can play the #2 most realistic racing sim on mobile and play it with a controller too. This game is the biggest in scale in the list, it's about 4 gigabytes in total and is playable both online and offline. And here's the honorable mentions.
head-to-head truck racing. Choose your favorite truck. Race and make a long jump. Climb to the top of the online leaderboards and dominate the world of fire-breathing monster trucks.